Greetings, dear, darling, my beautiful YouTube friends. It's been such a long time coming to you. Such a long time. Really appreciate you being here. Guess what? On Saturday, we hit 1,000 subscribers. First time in 15 years. It's surely something to celebrate. I'm trying something new. I mean, these red, bright lips is something that I haven't done much in my whole life. Mostly today, I will be talking about the crime and typologies. Typologies, I believe, is extremely interesting topic for everyone. And I'm calming myself down because, believe it or not, now we have a microphone here. There you go. You see, there is a mic. And so I guess I just can relax and just learn to speak calmly. Because, English is not my first language. So I try kind of like to push my voice out, to project my voice. And I really shouldn't. Here in the glasses, you see that I even prepared with the light. So I basically set up really good to be with you. Finally. I also have Christmas earrings. It was my Christmas present for my grandson and my daughter-in-law. So life is good, although it's very challenging, as you know, because of everything that is happening on planet Earth. Meaning that so much happening in the world and so much death happened in 2023 on planet Earth. Unexpected views from unexpected happenings that we could never ever think that will be going on planet Earth in our time. Please remember that absolutely everything is happening on planet Earth at the same time, meaning somewhere it's a war and people are dying. Somewhere it's like a brutal killing happening at the same time, some other place where people think that they are totally safe. Somewhere else, a child is being born for the first time to a very happy family who are really conceive that child in love, and we're really waiting for that child to be born. So that child is being born into happiness and love surrounding him. Somewhere, some woman is having her orgasm, a true orgasm, which is not just body, but spiritual and body at the same time for the first time. Someone like really young was in love with that person and got the first date and went out maybe to the movies or somewhere else, eat ice cream or just look into each other's eyes and have that conversation for the first time. So wherever you are in your life, at whatever time of the day or your age, if you remember that everything in the world happening at the same time, I believe it kind of helps you to equalize yourself inside yourself in terms of accepting what is, doing the best you can, and allowing sometimes yourself not to hurt so much because you are empathic and because you are sympathizing, empathizing on a regular basis. Maybe remembering that will help you to be more balanced inside yourself. I brought some tarot cards today as well, but I didn't bring that balance card some other time. December 28, 2023, the house in Idaho city called Moscow, campus city, I guess university city, was demolished. Some of you know that it's the very same house when a young man and 3 young ladies were stabbed to death, presumably by Bryan Christopher Koberger. And it's been a year. The court hasn't taken place yet. So we do remember about presumption of innocence. And this video is not for entertainment. I would say it's for educational purposes. A lot of people out there, when they pull the tarot cards, when they say this and that, they say this is for entertainment only. No, this is not for entertainment. This is for educational purposes. I've been learning psychology for about 6 years, even though it's from Russia and Ukraine, all kind of different courses, as well as esoterics and metaphysics, just like, it was my full life passion. But recently I've been doing it on a steady, like class after class, a few classes at the same time basis, I'm a real science girl. I really, really love science. And when everything is structured and systematized. And I also been learning human typologies for about 6 or 7 years. Typologies, as you know, is extremely important. When you see a person, if you know those typologies, as well as if you know yourself really well. Because when you know yourself, you know others. Because you understand with time that all of the differences, they lay on the surface. But deep inside, we are really, really a lot similar, but only different types. And there are very different typologies speaking about it. One of those typologies that I would like to share with you at some time, it's called somata typology. Somata typology. It's like a rainbow. It has 7 types, like 7 colors. It has 7 types, and it's based on the assumption that at the moment of your conception, when you were conceived, one of 7 hormones is getting most activated. And that hormone actually shapes your personality and shapes your body. So when you first take a look at the person, if you know that typology, you can already kind of like guess, understand what is the person more like. One of those 7 hormones, one of those 7 types. For example, when you look at me, a lot of people see this sensuality, sexuality, and they think that, I'm like ready, like to hug and kiss, even on a first date, like, oh, like, like sexy. Oh, she's really into it. No, not a story about me. I hardly ever kissed on a first date. I have to think really, really hard. Actually, I think maybe with my last husband, but I have to go with the memory back there. I already forgot, so let it go. But if you look at the Bryan K, for example, if you look at the Bryan K, he totally reminds this, he's tall, 6 feet, rather skinny, even though they say in school he was actually really plump. And then he took up running and he lost weight. And also they say about Bryan that I guess in the college years, maybe it's a first time college around when he was studying psychology, he did a lot of heroin. I guess there was a girl on TikTok talking about it and showing his pictures from the past as they were friends and hang together. And she was saying he was big heroin addict, but he really cleaned up. He really beat that. But the thing is, you see, when you do drugs and you do drugs really bad, there is a hole in your brain in terms of consciousness. there is a hole in your field, and you have to do a lot of healing to patch that hole up. And when I say a hole, I'm referring to the multidimensional reality around us, really quantum reality, holographic reality around us. And the drugs open up because, I mean, we have filters, right? Our upbringing, our culture, who we are, our choices that shape us, put a really huge amount of filters. And only like big time meditators or big time God worshippers, especially if you worship in a neutral way, not separating way. Like I'm a Christian, all the Muslims stay out of my way, you know? Not like that, but God is one and we are one from that consciousness way. So you kind of like healthily approach like understanding that holographic nature of reality and being able to reconcile beyond duality. So coming back to the somatotype of Bryan K, he's tall, he's skinny, his face is prolonged, and you know, so it's like a somatotropin type. I think if you would look into his arms and fingers, like his fingers, I think is also like elongated a bit. So, and somatotropin is a hormone that in a human body gives that elongation. It's like it's a lot of structure. If you think about planet, it's like planet Saturn by the number 8 that gives a lot of structure. And that elongation, the hormone that elongates things, it also kind of like elongates brain connections. So these people really, really love logic, and they are very structured in their thinking. Should I say analytical thinking? I probably could say analytical thinking. So yeah, when I look at the Bryan K, I do see that somatotropin in him. You know, just by your birthday, you can also tell a lot. And actually, Bryan K, the thing is, you see, I don't know the time of his birthday. He was born on November 21, 1994. And the numerology is actually a different kind of typology, right? Sometime we will do live video and I will take your birthdays and I will be able to tell you a little bit about yourself like right then and there. Right now, I better dismiss that topic because years and years I've been learning not to jump from topic to topic so I can actually relate to you. By the way, somatotropins, they can be, you know, sexually frustrated. I guess it goes with that Saturn territory, like a bit of a withdrawal. There was on one of the YouTube videos, crime enthusiasts, they showed a picture of, I think, from Maddie's phone or something, that there was somebody sitting in the corner at her party, and the person, even though it was like really blurred picture, but really looked like the profile, the brows, the eye sockets, like the whole like hair looked like Bryan K sitting in the chair in the corner. I mean, you never see Bryan K with the open mouth, right? I mean, of course, we watched him like, there was like, what, 2 or 3 interviews out of the car. And otherwise, it's always like when he was arrested and then in the courtroom, of course, his mouth would be closed, yeah? There is no reason to smile. You know, even though like, I think somatotropin with his all the thinking analysis going in the head, I should say for Bryan K, his mouth is actually in all of those court pictures, his mouth is pretty relaxed. You know, it's not like he's not like squeezing these muscles. It's not like tense. He's relaxed, which actually means he's kind of like keeping his composure, you know? but his eyes cannot keep that composure, yeah? By the eyes, you can really see in a different typology, it's called worrying depressive type, worrying depressive type. And his eyes are always kind of like wide open, and he's always like checking, yeah? Checking what's going on, like who is, who, it's like he's on a high alert. I think that could be said about somatotropin a little bit. But anyway, I wanted to show you this picture of, oh, this is good, yeah? You see, open eyes. This is the time when he was studying psychology. Open eyes and that big smile, open mouth, yeah? Actually, what is the mouth, open mouth, when people like smile and show their teeth? What does it say about a human being, kind of like in that metaphysical way, hidden way, you know? I don't know what just happened. Wow. It's like I got applause or something. Anyway, so what when the person smiles and opens up, shows all the teeth, it actually means that, and again, I say metaphysically, means hidden way, you know, like you gotta know those things to understand them. So it's like when person says, I'm ready for experiences, I'm ready to digest, I'm ready to eat up those experiences, I'm ready to digest, I'm open to the world. This is open, I'm taking things in. I have teeth, I can chew on them. Okay, it's a different typology, hetero, homo, neutro. Let's just dismiss it, but later just get used to those words because I will be talking about them later. Because typologies are extremely interesting, and if you're seeing this scar, it's because recently I had a fire on my sofa and I surprised myself going like just with my hand like that and putting that fire out. It's healing. Guess what? This comes actually with something that he said. I'll read it. His favorite quote is from Aristotle. And it says, it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. It's the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. So you see that young man, a very young man with an open mouth, yeah, and some of people who knew him were saying that he was a really good guy. I guess you could laugh with him. But then, you know, then things changed, yeah? Saying that quote from Aristotle says that, so he considered himself very educated and very smart, yeah? Maybe some autotropian feature too when they think they're really, really smart. Bryan K was studying criminology. Yeah, I also caught a glance of the one of his teachers, who a lady who wrote books about serial killers, and somebody was remembering that in that class, Bryan looked arrogant. His attitude was like kind of like he knows a lot more than the teacher does. I just want to show you a few of his photos. Like this is like very speaking about like those eyes, yeah, those eyes, like alert. But you see what I mean by the relaxed mouth. So actually mouth by itself, yeah? Maybe you know, hand corresponds to the whole body, called reflexology, foot corresponds to the whole body, even your tongue corresponds to the whole body, reflexology, but also like the mouth, you know, both lips and mouth, it kind of like holographically corresponds to your belly button. Meaning that's like Manipura chakra. That's the center of your will. In Japanese shiatsu massage therapy, it is believed that 10 meridians begin from that belly button and then run. So basically, when your mouth is relaxed, it means your belly button is relaxed. It means you are well composed. It means you have a really strong will, presumption of innocence. But it really, really feels like he did it. You know, it really, really feels like he did it. That was kind of like a cold shower realization right now over me, that he premeditated it. Premeditated. Maybe Bryan premeditated and was going after that one girl. But if she was in the bedroom with another friend and they were sleeping in the same bed, I wouldn't be surprised they were sleeping in the same bed if they didn't see each other for a while and they grew up together. They were such close sisters, friends, you know? And so like in their sleep, and that's why it's like people didn't hear it. And then the other girl who was with her boyfriend, turns out like she had a pizza delivery or something. Like it was really, really late at night, yeah? Like, I don't know, like 3:30 a.m., something like that, maybe even closer to 4. And that's the first two girls were like, Bryan was like counting on one girl presence and was going after her. And under her body was the sheath with his DNA, sheath from the knife with his DNA found under her body. That girl on the bottom floor, when she opened her door for the third time, and perpetrator was coming around, it looks like he didn't even look at her, yeah? She saw the mask, I think it was a hoodie, right? And only bushy eyebrows. And I think by that time, Bryan was like totally exhausted because he was coming for one kill, just maybe to experience how it felt. And instead, he already had to commit 4 by the providence, by the providence. Guess what? It happened on November 13, right? And 13, I prepared a card for you. 13 is in Tarot, is a card of death. Here you go. The card of death, number 13. And you see, it's always about timing. And when something really bad happens, this is like to the spiritual side now. When something really bad happens, it's like written in the books. It's like nothing happens without the God's awareness. Nothing happens without those souls' awareness in a sort of agreement to have that experience in this life. And sometimes some souls come here on earth and live their lives and go through those betrayals, murders, crimes, criminals, experiences, victims, so that other people around them also have experiences through observing it, processing it through their own system, through empathy, through sympathy, through being really up close, parents, children, and like, so it comes like really, really close to your skin. And you have to, without being like a direct participant in that crime, you still sift it through your own being and you learn from that experience. You understand? My first experience as a linguist, I really love proverbs and sayings, you know. And in Turkmen language, there is a saying or proverb, sebepsiz çöp başı gıymıldamı. Sebepsiz çöp başı gıymıldamı. It means, in a loose translation, even a grass, even a single blade of grass will not move without a reason. But reason being to everything moving is God. You understand? When that girl opened the door for the third time, I believe, you know, he was already totally exhausted by the 4 murders he had to commit. I think it was like already in such a trance, he totally didn't have any energy to go for someone else. And I think that's why the reason, like, he just walked out, you know? And I think because he prepared so well, you know, except that sheath of the night, the blood evidence was never found unless there is something we still don't know, yeah? Because there was a gag order on all of the evidence. You know, your hands are a big healers. There is a light coming out of your hands at all the times. It's open chakras. That's why when we hurt, we put the hands on us. So I'm keeping both of my palms right now on my Manipura, solar plexus, Manipura. Oh, I just noticed that my blouse looks like those mountains, you see? Yeah, I dress like earth. It's a little bit like brown, but it's brown with a little bit of purple. You see? Kind of like down to earth, but also connected to the royalty of heaven, royalty of the eternity, infinity, endlessness, up there, blessed emptiness. But of course, you know, like you gotta get there. You gotta be there. You gotta be there to understand why would emptiness be a blessed thing, you know? In one short thing, because when God rests from creating universes, he goes back to emptiness before he is ready to make the universes churn again. To all of the archangels and to all of the ascended beings. Okay, so the question is, why did I pick Bryan Koberger? It's so funny. Often you know, I read his name. It's Koberger. It's like in a translation, it means Kur means coal, and Berg means like a hill or a mountain. So it's like a city, like Burg, St. Petersburg. Berg is like same as Burg, like St. Petersburg, like city, Burg, like cities maybe built in the past, like on some hills, you know, so they stand a little higher, so they can see the enemy coming by the land, so it's like well seen, so they are protected by water if it's like flooding, you know. So yeah, it's kind of like Coal Mountain. Yeah, it's like Coal Mountain. Anyway, Koberger, but every time I look at it, I kind of like, I guess my brain is mixed up with Russian. It wants to read converge, like converging things, you know, converging one epoch to another epoch. I had to touch my ears for just a sec. I just need to do it. Sorry. In systemic vector psychology, the ear development is like the highest development. It's like people who look for meaning. Kind of comes along with somatotropin type. I think they always try to find meaning. And this guy, sorry, couldn't figure it out. What is that? That is mark of an educated mind, to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. He was entertaining a thought about a crime for a long time. But then, exactly 8 days before his birthday and 8 days before, like November 21, you know, 8 days. 8 is actually the number for Saturn. There you go with coincidence, meaningful coincidences. 8 days before he becomes 28, Bryan goes and does it. I think. Sorry, we will learn if he walks as OJ did, you know? If he walks, it will be a huge surprise for everyone. The issue with Bryan Christopher, and I'm Anna Krista, even though it's a different spelling, mine with a K and his is with CH. But Christopher, it's like iron of the Christ. I don't know, maybe something else, maybe passion of the Christ, Christopher. My name, Krista, Anna Krista. Krista means Christa means feminine Holy Spirit. So, yeah. Okay, some tea. You see, there is a 7 cycle, yeah, 7 years cycle. And it was 4 times 7. He was coming up to 4 times 7. I wonder if in his structured mind, he was kind of like deciding to give, because he prepared so well, yeah, not to leave any evidence, absolutely no evidence. And he was going for 1 kill. Instead, he had to do 4, and maybe that's why, like, his big eyes, like looking, when he was stopped 2 times. And it's so funny coincidence. I live in Indiana. He was stopped 2 times in Indiana within 8 minutes from each other. First stop when they were for speeding. Bryan was at the wheel with his father right next to him. And when, the officer comes up and there is a recording, and every time Bryan looks and his eyes, and like, when I saw those eyes, I'll show them to you, even though it's not going to be a good picture probably. But those eyes, in the car, like, will you see it? There. Those eyes, it's like, when I saw those eyes, I was like, I recognize that glance. I know that glance. This is even not so telling. And look, he's like, his chin is a little bit like he's like controlling, but his eyes like, am I going to be apprehended right this moment? It's alertness. Am I going to be, what is coming next? Am I going to be caught right next minute? Like a lot of astrologists, a lot of tarologists use the famous people like the examples. They don't ask their permission. It's like, if you are famous out there, then you are on The View. And it's like, oh, it's like a free breakfast, take and help yourself to the bar. But there is a ecological way of doing it, And actually, even when you do the tarot, it's like, it's really good to ask. And the question is, such, after I feel like I'm in connection with the highest truth, dear God, do I have a stewardship to work with Bryan Christopher Koberger and look at him through tarot for educational purposes, to share it with people? And I pull a card, and the card is white card. It's called the white card in the French system of tarot. There is English and there is French. And the white card means a huge amount of energy. And it also means the connection with the higher egregores. Like, God is made of pure light. Here is a card of pure light, white sun, white that births all of the rainbow, all of the colors, all of the opportunities, as well as misfortunes. Without God approving, nothing happens. I did 2 tarot spreads. Both are on major arcana. Maybe if you don't, here is the deal. In English system, there are 78 cards, 22 of the major arcana and 56 of the minor arcana. In French system, you could say 79 cards, because there is a white card that adds as a number 23 to the major arcana. And the lady who I studied the Book of Life Tarot for 2nd year now, she actually added 2 cards. It's a white card and black card means portal. And 24 being the major arcana, it makes a perfect sense. But all of the cards in major arcana, they show higher forces in our life, higher forces, the role of higher forces in our life. So the first spread that I did when I learned about house demolition, I had this inkling, and I had a curiosity. I had a scientist curiosity, psychologist, philosopher curiosity, a healer curiosity. If Bryan K did those crimes, how did he feel about the house where all of the killing happened? Demolished on December 28, 2023. And the first tarot spread that I did was 7 bodies. 7 bodies have some correspondence to the 7 chakras, but it's different. 7 bodies, that's kind of like a shell, yeah? Actually, in Kundalini Yoga, we talk about maybe 10 or even 11 bodies. Sometimes I'll make another video about that. And secondly, I did also major arcana, only major arcana, meaning the higher forces participating in 12 houses of zodiac horoscope. At that moment, how Bryan K felt, which energies surrounded him in connection to that house being demolished. I will make that video also only if a lot of people, well, let's say at least 100 likes and 100 comments on this video, wanting to know more, wanting to know about how Bryan K felt in his 7 bodies and what zodiac told in all of the 12 houses about how he felt and which energies he was surrounded with. When I saw that I do have a stewardship, because the card showed me a white card, and it was approval from the higher forces to research this and to make this video that I'm presenting to you right now. And then, you know, I started remembering some other crimes. March 21, 2022, which March 21 of this year, 24, will be 2 years. I had the hugest trauma of my life. And if I present it to you in a nutshell, it was me being woken up from an extremely deep sleep. I didn't understand what was happening. 3 a.m., 3 in the morning. And then, you know, you probably heard Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked in California, which actually happened October 28, 2022, October 28, 2022. One picture of Nancy Pelosi's husband when there is this guy, a huge guy, David DePape, breaking the glass door, getting in. There was another crime, and it happened already this year. Sergio Brown's mother, a fragile 77, 3 years old, was seen alive last time on September 14. And then her body was found wrapped in a sheet, not too far from the house that she shared with her son, Sergio Brown, who was an NFL player from 2010 to 2016. And this is year 2023. Can you imagine that? Yeah. So if you kind of put together what happened to Pelosi with the perpetrator breaking into his house and striking him, thanks goodness this time my skull was intact. It's my femur neck that was broken. But, and thanks goodness I stayed alive. I didn't die, you see. But unfortunately, perpetrator was my beloved family, part of my family. So I just, you know, when even the reason why I was so far away from you for such a long time, because even though I recovered with a bone, I still had PTSD and I had a depression. And the depression is for feeling to, you love the person of your family so much. I love so much my family. And at the same time, like you fail to help your family to overcome drug addiction, to overcome what led to drug addiction, which could be kind of like a trauma that happened in the childhood. You see, like in a Sergio Brown case, I think the attorney is going to argument that in a football, he had this skull injuries, and so his brain wasn't okay. Like, when they captured him on an airplane, he was like resisting physically, and he was yelling, I'm being abducted by the government. Being abducted by the government. Meanwhile, the credit cards, the bank cards, the iPad, the phone of the dead mother is in his bag. Can you imagine that? So yeah, that's what happened to me. And thanks goodness now I'm out of depression. You can see I'm full force. I have my passionate energy back. I have my compassionate energy back. And I'm with you guys. And soon, we're going to have live videos with lots of your questions answered. This is the upside down V for victory, I say. Anyway, that's V for our victory. 1,000 subscribers now, and probably will be a lot more soon, right? Yes, let's make it happen. Yes, let's make it came through. Some very interesting timing. March 21, 2022, when it happened to me. Can you believe it? Exactly 7 months and 7 days later, that David DePape hurt Nancy Pelosi's husband in the dark of the night. This is 7 in Tarot. It's actually a good card. It stands for victory and success. But the victory and success here is the young man is out of the city. The city is behind. He's out. He's exploring world. He's out to explore the world, but his horses are white and black. You see, it's like opposites. It's like, again, unity of the opposites that will help to come to victory. So exactly 7 months and 7 days after my injury, Pelosi happened. And then exactly 16 days later, and number 16 in Tarot is a Tower card. You can see how you see the lightning struck and the tower burst open into the halves, broke open. Sometimes your heart breaks open like that, And it's really, really good if you were prepared to earn and learn from that lesson. Because after that, you are a totally new person. You are a totally amazing, sometimes, new person. But you see, 16 days after that crime in Idaho, Moscow, 4 young kids, college students, 1 college young graduate, killed by Bryan K. I mean, still presumption of innocence, but that's what it seems to be, yeah? I want to show you some of his pictures that I haven't yet, his photos. Such a somatotropin face here. There, such a somatotropin face. The corners of the mouth, corners of the lips are a little bit, lower. You see a little bit lowered corners of the lips. Like there is some bitterness in that face. There is some bitterness. 16 days later, that happened. And after that, after what happened in Idaho, exactly, it was November 13, yeah? And then September 14 of the next year, 2023, Sergio Brown killing his mother happened. Exactly 10 months and 1 day. There was 7, 7, 16. 1 plus 6 is also 7. And here is 10 and 1, which is like continuation of each other, 1 with a 0. 10 months and 1 day later, Sergio Brown happened. So those are 3 crimes. And I still, before I finish this video, I still would like to talk about spiritual significance of the killings and what happens after to the soul. Some very interesting points. But I want to show you, before I go there, I want to show you the card number 10, which is called Wheel of Fortune. Also considered a good card, but sometimes, you know, for this and for this to be good, and both have the rainbow over, you see? It's like a true sheer victory of spirit. But for this, if here is like white and black, or like good and bad, or like kindness and evil, or like love and hate, yeah, have to be reconciled for the victory. Here, there are different energies. You see on the top, there is a sphinx sitting with all of its wisdom and angelic wings. But at the bottom, there is, you see, there is an energy that always takes it up, and there is energy that always brings it down. And you need to learn to anchor with that. Is it Kadosh? Just popped up anyway, to be anchored, to be on that wheel of fortune and sit like a victor. You have to learn to reconcile once again all the things that take you down and all the things that take you up. By the way, it's the second time during a video that I burped. And by the way, it's been a long while since I ate. You should pay attention. When you burp out of nowhere, it means you are speaking truth. When you sneeze out of nowhere, it means you are speaking truth. So I'm speaking truth to you. It's like a higher energy, like giving this a little bit like oomph and pushes inside the energy, like to show you that sign. So yeah, you see? And now I'm basically ready to, oh, wow, for a second there was just nothing but the sky and mountains. I really hope human beings not kill themselves. I really hope all the humanity comes to an agreement between rich and poor, between white and black, between Ukrainian and Russian, Palestinian and Israeli. My hugest actually dream for like myself, you know, if I could really explain, show with examples, I don't know, my own example, or like spiritual linguistics that I practice, which is like hugest tool that I have that totally gives me this power, might of God, and God is one, and he loves everyone equally. And he does it like, you know, and everybody, even Illuminati has their role, and they play the role that designated for them, because it's everything like God is playing and watching, because there is no time, because but basically, yeah, I just hope that we have this beautiful planet that has these amazing rainbows over it, you know, and because I don't know if we come to a destruction, if the nature like that, like it remained for a second, just mountains and sky, you know, if the nature will stay or if the planet will explode, and then who knows in the timelessness, how long all of our souls in the Neverland will wait until the next cosmology happen, and we get to give another experience sometime. Well, you know, I had, I cannot say huge feeling of shame when that happened to me, but I had significant level of shame when that happened to me. I spent 11 hours in emergency room. I refused to have a surgery because it came out of nowhere. As an analytical person, I had to accept the lesson first. I had to understand why it happened to me before I would like jump ahead into fixing it. I also wanted to fully take in that lesson of humility that happened to me. I wanted to learn, strip it down to its nakedness, to learn not 100, but 200% from it. What happened? Why it happened to me? 4 times before, maybe even more, maybe 4.5. I healed the broken bones in my body in the matter, kind of like Joe Dispenza talks about falling out of his bicycle, and like breaking his spine in so many places, and then in 9 weeks healing it. So like with me in 9 days, in 2.5 weeks, 4 or 5 times I healed my broken bones, and some of them were broken pretty badly. Reminding you, it's a card of death in tarot, but death is not quite death. You see, there is a huge green light here. Death is something transforming, something finishing up, and then the new emerald, new life is beginning. You see? But there was exactly day to day, 13 months between 2 significant injuries that I sustained from the loved one. It took 7 months for that spine to heal because I wasn't able to get into the candle in yoga. When you get your legs, you see, burp, saying the truth. I wasn't able to do the legs and the hips over in a straight line, candle in yoga, reverse position. Like, it's really good for your brain because it like massages your brain with that blood pressure. So you don't have that stroke thing. Because your blood vessels in the brain, they remain flexible from the blood coming strongly into the head and then relaxing strongly to the head and then relaxing. Now, back to spiritual lessons. I know, just like that Judah, I know I accept the lesson. I accept that I had to go through this experience. I agree that it happened. I agree to agree ahead with the things that God sends to me. Wow. Sudden quiet. Like everything around listens. Thank you, God. I love you. Oh my God. It's like my face is ascending right now, especially the left side. It's like going up with energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you. My hands are really vibrating. I also accept that my family member, my beloved family, also had to go through that experience. I accept it. So if you are in a huge pain, especially if it's a fresh pain, somebody being murdered, somebody being killed, or you have suffered because your family hurt you, abused you, crushed you, anything else. Like, a lot of times in spirituality, with acceptance, the shift happens. You can, by accepting it, you can understand that behind it, there is a new door, a new passage. You can allow yourself to stop being a victim and start turning your head like a green dragon coming as a year 2024. In Chinese astrology, there is a green dragon turning its head. It's like sign for success. It's like energy coming from one side and you have to catch it. And so like turning your head, stopping being a victim and turning your head toward success, toward ascension, toward the unity with the highest meaning, toward the unity with God. That is one for all of us on human planet Earth. Thank you, God. As I say, thank you. I have this white angel energy entering me. And it starts like unwinding inside me like this. Oh God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I accept and I'm very grateful. Thank you, thank you. Oh God, rainbow. Woo! Oh, that's why I call it rainbow medicine. There is nothing alongside homosexuality. It's a God thing, rainbow. It's a planet Earth, rainbow. It's us. Hue, man, hue, color. Man from Sanskrit, mind, colorful mind. You can do so much with your mind. And I'm ready to take you to victory. If you choose me, if you'd like to hang together, if you'd like to walk forward together, if you'd like to ascend together. So that was the first lesson, spiritual lesson about any crime, any murder that happens, that everything is sort of like preordained. And only with humility, because humility is a beautiful part of spirituality, we can accept and we can allow that energy to evolve us. That's the pay for ascension, for higher vibrational frequencies, experiences. Now, look, I caught a piece of a sky with my inside of my elbow. This is nice. I love it. Look, I caught a sky with my elbow, with the inside of my arm, my right arm. I don't know if you see it like right and left. Okay, are you ready for the next spiritual lesson? In crime, in murders, in killings, in the suffering. Are you ready for the second magnificent lesson? I heard it recently. And when I heard it, it had really deep resonance within my body, within my field. Meaning, very often those mass shootings, people in depression, and after they shoot a bunch of people, they also shoot themselves. So in those cases, when murderer and the victim dies, I heard this interpretation, I cannot remember where I heard it, but I heard that if they die at the same time, and when the soul leaves the physical body and rises, this side and this side, victim and perpetrator and victim, they look into each other completely. They look into each other etheric eyes with so much love and so much acceptance. I think it's only possible when the souls acknowledge that, because shedding the physical body, they remember that state of the soul. They remember all the forgotten soul memories, and they remember the signed contracts. How did they come into this life? Because they signed that is the way they will be going out. But that's the fact. When I heard that, I felt it extremely deeply in my whole essence, that with etheric eyes, physical body, and then second body is etheric body, and it takes 2-3 days. That's why when the person dies, the first celebration of his life is 3 days, when the etheric body ceases to exist. But right after the moment of death, they are looking into each other's eyes with so much love and acceptance. I really, really wish that is the story that is happening between Palestinians dead and Israeli dead. I understand only if it's like happening at the same locality, It's very rarely I hear the new piece of information. And this last spiritual piece on crime and murder and being victim or being a perpetrator and the suffering and the darkness that comes into our lives at the least times when we expect it, and then all of it happens. Let's hope that some will survive all of this. So here is the last lesson. I was very touched and very surprised when I heard it. When you do someone a really huge goodness, or when you do sometimes something really, really bad to someone, like really, really bad. So let's say Bryan K, if he killed these 4 young people, the victim and the murderer have to be reborn. They have to be reborn in the same family, like brothers and sisters or parents and children, and they have to learn to love each other in another lifetimes, in reincarnation, through other lessons. They have to learn to love each other because the love is the law of the universe. Love is one of the biggest laws of God and how God rules this world. If you hurt someone really deeply, and if you did a huge kindness to that person, you have to be reborn in the same family, like siblings or like parents and children, and you have to learn to love that soul. And in the end, there is a story on YouTube. I first remember it like the blue egg story, but actually it's just the egg story. But if you type blue egg story, it will still pop up. It's because on the cover of it, there is a huge blue egg. It's like our planet and the universe. But anyway, there is a cartoon version of it, and there is a British accent drama version of it. Please search it on YouTube if you haven't seen it. I think it really beautifully explains, really beautifully explains my last thesis in another term. Like the law of love governs this universe, and under all of it, it governs the planet, life on planet Earth, and our human life here. Yep, the law of love, and our souls will survive no matter what. I think I said everything I wanted to say. It's going to be a very long video. Maybe I will edit it and put it into smaller parts. But I'm so happy this has finally happened. This is actually September. Oh, no. Oh, September. January 1. January 1, New Year. And I am with you. Now I can tell you. Now I can say to you how much I love you, each one of you, human beings on planet Earth. Sorry, my eyes went a little bit like that. I'll do that again. How much I love you. This kiss is for you. Blessings, blessings upon you, and happy ascension. Happy ascension. Bye-bye.